Questions for guys, part 1. Do you like tall girls or short girls?
Men. Whoa, 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 hey.
Alright, I heard Juba Bussy just made another video. And it's about Marvel versus DC. Now, honestly, I don't care what the people have to say about DC. And I know a lot of people like Marvel, especially with the movies, MCU, all that shit. But I'm just intrigued what they have to say about it, and let's just get this started.
Before we start this video, we just want to take a moment to say thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. It's so important to take care of your mental health, and for me personally, I've struggled with everything from anxiety to even depression. I personally sought out
Enough this pussy shit, let's get on to the video.
The original Spider-Man were not good. Like, I grew up watching those and I was not a huge fan.
The Tobey?
No.
Yeah,
Tobey.
What?
I didn't know.
Huge topic. Alright, off to a great start.
I look back at my fandom since I was tiny. You know, the biggest impact I think for me has been Batman.
Something's in my ass.
When people really know comics, they know what DC's bringing to the table.
I could see how they can defend like their video games and their comics, but I don't know how they're gonna back up the movies.
No shade, but their movies aren't that great.
Ultimately, you see a very cookie-cutter pattern of how Marvel makes their films versus DC, which is super gritty, super dark.
I will die on a hill of really apologizing and loving some of these new movies more than most people should.
I think my only expectation really is to kind of understand, where the other side's coming from. How do they connect with someone like Superman, who to me has the personality of a brick?
Well, there's different versions of Superman, but we're not get into the nitty-gritty about that.
My name is Ryan. I'm a philosophy major at university. I studied art history as well. The more I think about it, those things tie in a lot for the reason why I love comics so much.
Hey, I'm Will. I'm a lifelong, I would say comic book fan, but really DC Homer, as my friend would call me. Apologist, some would say, to a certain degree.
I'm Matt, and I am as well a DC guy. I'm actually trying to get into voice acting, voiceover. Like watching all these animated shows and whatnot, it's really inspiring to see all these characters come to life through voice and whatnot, so that's what I'm trying to do.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Marvel's pretty much always been like my favorite genre of movies. I love watching all the movies. I really love cinematography and I love how they're always played out. So yeah, I'm a Marvel fan.
What's cinematography? All their movies are the same thing.
Marvel is only considered better because of the movies.
Mostly, a lot of people know Marvel from their movies nowadays. Because, if you remember, there used to be like a lot of comedy. Like a lot of comedy of Marvel, making fun of the source material. And a lot of vibrant colors, and some take it, have some serious stories like X-Men, for example, and the other shows, Spider-Man, especially Spider-Man, but yeah, like most Marvel movies before MCU aren't that great. They're Sam Raimi, the G. We have Blade, maybe Ghost Rider, depends. And that's about it. There's other ones too, but it's not very good or memorable than the MCU does it. And if I remember correctly, yeah, a lot of people got into Marvel is because of the movies. Because I never met a person who actually loves Marvel from the comics or shows. It's mostly from the movies on the Cineplex, theaters. It doesn't matter. It's from the MCU, mainly. MCU. For DC, it's mostly the animated shows, movies, comics. Then it's movies, predecessor. But honestly, it doesn't matter if you like either way. Unless it's good content, it's for the well-suited guest. customer, it really doesn't matter. But if we're talking about like which one's more successful, and then we're talking about like quality, like content wise, Marvel for like huge audiences. For DC, especially now, they're getting back into shape and posting like better and actually well quality movies now so far. There's the Suicide Squad, the new one, the animated movies, and some animated shows like for example Young Justice are, was getting popular, getting a lot of success. And again, the movies are actually, and especially new Batman, like the movies are their movies are getting up to speed against Marvel with non-stop content of either a decent or a poor quality made movie. You better sit on that chair.
Unless they're comic book fanatics, I don't hear anybody talking about the comics, let alone the shows, even the games or anything.
Like I said, I forgot about the games. Mostly people know Marvel, it's from the movies. Let's do not lie. Like, for me personally, I know Marvel like before the MCU, and I still like it. But now, it changed me. I'm sorry. Like, Marvel isn't the same, for me at least, after what they did to the source material and whatever the fuck this thing is.
I only hear the movies.
Thank you for being the only one here, by the way. Because it is challenging, I think, right now to be a DC fan because of that feeling. Socially, the conversation is Marvel. Oh, yeah. So extremely that every time DC puts out a movie, it's like almost expected that you're supposed to shit on it.
Right.
Because it's not as good.
That reminds me of one person.
They did it wrong. Now, have they stumbled along the way? Tons of times. But I get this feeling that no one's entering into seeing a DC movie to just be vulnerable and experience what they're being given.
And it's recency bias, right? Because Christopher Reeve with Superman launched, but then you also think about the Batman, so Michael Keaton, right, and Jack Nicholson, and then even Batman Forever with Val Kilmer. Maybe not so much after that, but there was no Marvel movies at the time.
The Dark Knight kind of faded into the background when people talk about DC movies. And it's like, those were great films.
Awesome. I mean, we don't have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in my opinion, without Batman Begins.
All right, this
Which is true, but they're not making... Fun fact, they were gonna connect with that movie to Man of Steel when Man of Steel came out in 2013, I think. But then they scrapped that and just put Ben Affleck into the movie. So, yeah, it was supposed to be connected with the Christopher Lee movies, but yeah, they had to bring in the Batfleck into the franchise, which I'm fine. But a lot of people do not like him. It's my opinion.
Greers, come forward.
I'm still on your side, you guys.
Did you forget we were here? The movies, the TV shows, the video games, the comic books, the books, when you oversimplify it to one aspect, you're immediately erasing thousands of people's hard work and not giving them the credit that they deserve.
Well, dependable. If they make good comics and stuff, then yeah, understandable to the mass. Yeah, exactly. And I'm talking about the good stuff. The bad stuff doesn't deserve to be recognized at all. So, especially with this character.
As they add to the rest of the brand.
I guess I'm thinking, could you argue that simply because of the MCU, more people care? It used to be that to be a nerd back, even in the 90s, because I love Spider-Man, X-Men, all that stuff from the 90s. Doing cosplay, when I was doing cosplay, people yelling at me, saying stupid, dressing up in movies, all kinds of stuff. Now cosplayers get millions of followers, like on Instagram.
Mostly they're female, but we're not gonna get into that discussion.
MCU actually made nerds cool.
Yeah.
And so when I think of better, I think like, kind of to your point, detracts from all the like suffering of the nerds who got kicked and shoved in their closets.
To get here.
So now that the MCU exists, I'm like, oh, now you want to say it's cool. Okay, fine, yeah.
I do believe some of the comics do better than some of the Marvel stuff that is out.
All right. I was not expecting her to say that, but alright. I'll give her credit. At least they're not one of those kind of Marvel stands, if you know what I'm talking about. Ugh.
Like with all the Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man were not good. Like I grew up watching those and I was not a huge fan.
Wait, the 90s?
No. Yeah, Toby.
What?
I did not.
What? The Sam Raimi?
He's worse than Andrew Garfield?
I see those movies as like corny perfection. It's like
But it's
absolute
corny.
cheese.
Like you said, it's corny.
Right, I love that.
He didn't give me that representation. I'm an awkward teen. He was like a very just dark and like brooding, like more DC. He just was very not awkward, how I wanted to see Peter Parker.
You're telling me that Spider-Man 3 dance wasn't awkward to you?
That was.
Your generation, especially now, you can see that you guys don't really like the dark, gritty, because right now,
Everyone
everything
wants.
that's going on
Everyone
right now,
just wants happy stories.
yeah, everything that's going on right now, you don't want to see even darker.
I want
shittier
depression
things. You wanna see-
personified.
Yeah, more whimsical. Yeah, exactly.
I think DC kind of shows people like what they already see in humanity. They're like, wow, are our cities actually like this? Like, is this actually happening? I feel like people kind of get scared and they're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
But it's a way to show them reality. See, that's the real world of our world. I think it's important for you to show kids what it's like to be an adult in a world, especially in a world like this, like politics, criminals, war, especially with war, and scamming, trafficking, like a lot of things. You had to understand that things isn't like black and white like Marvel is doing. Sometimes it's needed if you want a simplistic, happy story from Marvel, or like a really like very grounded story from Marvel. But you gotta understand that like be blinded by that positivity can just ruins your perspective on life, in my opinion. Like but that doesn't mean that you don't have to like Marvel or have to be into DC, because seriousness or not, it's important to show what it's like to live in a world where the hard times hit and sometimes the good times hit as well, but it's not as much as the gut punches of like responsibility, reality has to offer. That's why Spider-Man is good on that and successful without being to the point that's like too graphic or dark. It's literally a simplistic story where Spider-Man is like, with great power comes great responsibility, and Batman is like making sure like the criminals don't do crime again, or they'll have to suffer with the consequences of getting justice, beat, vengeance, and a bit of hope at the end that maybe one day they'll realize that what they're doing is actually a waste of time and just not good. Like those are great examples of what these two offer in their own franchises. So yeah.
Our characters are more relatable.
This is a bit debatable, if I'll be honest. Our characters are more relatable. Bitch, there's a lot of characters that we can relate to, even though like some of them can be like very like gruesome and dark, or some is just way too corny and a joke. But because you don't have to be related to a character that is like, human or not human. The point is, if you enjoy a character or enjoy its like the character's powers, philosophy, thoughts, mindset, or the way he interacts in real life, like the way the character interacts, it doesn't matter is a boy, girl, trans, doesn't matter. If the character interacts to the world of what people has to go through, and the character interacts what he or she does to those characters, is way more, I want to say relatable, but you can see it as that, but there's also another word for it, like, I don't know, agreeable, enjoyable, like those, like if you understand where that character is doing and going through, then I think it's good enough. Then just has to be quote and end quote relatable. Like you just enjoy the character as what it is, OP or not, smart or anything or not, it has to be comes down to like if the character grows on you or it just whatever, and that's all I gotta say to that.
Let's run real quick. It's just the fact that, especially like me growing up, that I could just look at like these different heroes. Like I was like, I'm not built like no Captain America, but I can relate to him in the.
No, you can be built like him. That like that's just the actor of playing Captain America. Like that is not. Like you think the muscles are CGI. Like you can get that if you work hard. Then just saying that you cannot be him or be corny as like, oh, he's always gonna be I'm always gonna be like him, like in my heart, or some corny crap like that. It's like literally I can go to the gym and give me those gains, and you'll see me as exactly as Jack as he is. So this, like, some heroes you can just be like them, just without the powers.
Hard. It's what matters. And so I'm just like, just seeing every character. I'm like, oh, wait, that's me. Oh, wait, that could be me. Oh, that could be me. And I'm just like, I've just experienced that. Like, let me just run up in here real quick.
Peter Parker and his anxiety. It's so relatable as a teenager and seeing another teenager.
Don't get me started with Tom Holland.
Get all these superpowers, and he's like, I'm just a kid. Like, I'm just trying to go to school. Like, I need a break.
It's kind of a combination between the comics, the TV shows, the MCU in total. When you humanize a character first and then introduce their abilities, you not only give the audience time to relate to them and attach themselves to the character, but you give them an opportunity to see them superpower, amazingness. Things like that, just make Marvel just a bit more relatable to me.
Welcome.
There is an element to DC that I get, that they are unrelatable. Superman really is the most obvious.
Well, not really. Like, if we're talking about like realism, if let's just say Superman, if we're talking about like law and a bit of like I said, realism into the mix, like forgetting his powers, they just focus on what like the backstory is told. He's from like a different planet. He came to Earth. He has to live like a human. Reminds me, or can be reminded as like a refugee from like a different country coming to America, and he has a raise up like an American citizen, but he's not from America. He's not anymore from that country that he moved away from, or like either like I said, refugee or immigrant. He literally has to use his responsibility as a citizen to help others that is in need, to give them hope to reach for their successes. That's what I see in Superman. Like even though a lot of people complain that he's OP comparably to like, I don't know, One Punch Man or Goku or I guess Thor in a way. But even though the powers are very huge, it's his character itself is still important to people's lives. Especially his character was made back then where like the Cold War and World War I think 2 was happening. And so he was, or 1, but I think it was 2. And he was created for people to fight, I think, like the Nazis, racism. Like the point of Superman back then was to fight the oppression, fight the bad guys that is hurting the country, and he's supposed to give them hope that they are the ones standing tall and free, and give them the justice they need. That was the point back then. And now, since we're all, quote unquote, together, we have to you know, he's not as important as he is now, but they changed his, you know, character up in the comics. Instead of like him just usually, you know, beat trains and save others from like burning bridges and Nazis and stuff or whatever. It's now him fighting tough aliens like Lobo, Darkseid, fighting politics against his country, doing the right thing. He's literally Captain America, but like very super strong, and that's literally what he is now. So again, like people, again, of course, the very super strong strength is what turned people off with him. But if you understand where he's coming from and his symbol and stuff, I think you can still relate to him in some degree as an adult or a kid than seeing him as like a weapon, like a gun. Because I think that's the main point of him is he's a citizen to use his weapon for good than just betray it and brutalize it by just be like any other shooter. That's what I think of Superman.
Because he's overpowered from another planet, all these things. But at the same time, at the core of all that is this unbreakable goodness.
Like Superman, one of the things I always found really endearing is he comes from a different planet. He has unlimited power, but at the same time, once he met Ma and Pa Kent, you know, he fell in love with like the family and being a high schooler and learning how to acclimate. And so at the end of the day, they are dealing with the same human and basic problems and conflicts that we have, you know.
I think that's where Zach really tried to tie it all in. It's with Batman vs. Superman. DC fans hated. They were not about that. And
you know what's the funny thing is about Batman v Superman? I remember there was a time where I was in Brampton, and I was in the school, and I was in the bus, and people in the back were talking about the movie coming out to 2016, and people are like debating and stuff, or like excited to see who would win in a battle, Batman or Superman, and they asked me to say who you think is gonna win, and I said Batman because I played Lego Batman the game, where in the game would they show like Batman kept like kryptonite just in case Batman goes rogue, and that's the reason why that I think Batman will win, and they all just cheered on and say yes, he knows it, he knows what's happening, he knows it, he knows what's up, and yeah, that's literally how it went. And I'm surprised, and this is I'm so confused and don't know what is happening anymore, because I remember people were debating Batman v Superman before the movie came out, before it was announced, that people were always say, oh, Batman will beat Superman, and people like and people don't understand, like very like serious and smart people would just say, well, if we're talking about like Batman, just go up and just say, yo, I want to fight Superman. What? Just by himself, no help, no resources, just him fighting Superman alone. The reasonable answer would be Superman. Now, if you give him time, resources, and he'll come back again, and he's actually prepared and knows what he's dealing with, and of course, Batman. Of course, Batman will win. But people were talking about legit, realistically, if Batman just straight up want to fight Superman without knowing who he is, Superman would automatically win, hands down. But of course, Zack Snyder doesn't want to make it that simple and just say, because overall, it will be a boring fight. If I'll be honest here, do you really want to see Batman getting mopped the floor with Superman? Even though it's very, like, straightforward, like, he's God, like, he can just literally win by a flick of a finger. He actually, at least Zack Snyder made a decent reasoning, more like at least a better reasoning for him to actually have an advantage to beat Superman, because he knows what he is, he saw what he can do, he has the weakness, he actually is prepared, and he actually has some advantage against him than just fighting brawn versus brawn. So, a lot of people will just disagree, say this movie is bad, trash, whatever. To me, I respect the movie for what it is, and I do enjoyed it. I wouldn't like. Of course, it's not 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, but it's literally, especially with the director's cut, it's actually really interesting to watch. Now, the only thing I do not like about the movie is the villains. One is like philosophical and smart, which I do appreciate, but it's supposed to be like the man that controls everyone, the very political guy, and it's like it's the guy that acts like the Riddler or like the Joker at the same time. It's like and then we have Zod becoming Doomsday, which I do kind of like more with that idea than made Lex like Bill Gates. So that's the only thing I really don't like. The most major thing I do not like about that movie is literally Lex acting like the Riddler. So, but overall, like, the movie isn't that bad. It's just I think it's overhated. It's just, if you just don't like think about like the most simple, like the simplistic answers, just look at like, not just that. It's just the way they put it and how they fought against each other is at least makes sense to some degree than just, okay, Batman hates Superman because he's evil and that's why they're fighting, and it's just not interesting. This one was at least something that you can just be like, okay, that happens because now this is gonna happen, and he's gonna do this and that, and this is why this is happening. At least it has that going on for it.
It's just like,
Don't worry, we did too.
everyone hated it. Exactly. People were not a fan of it, but it's just like he tried to humanize these characters, and that was really an important step to take, because with Superman, Batman, they were never shown to have a breaking point or be showed as the villain.
Why, and that is why I respect Zack Snyder for actually attempting to do it. Not a lot of people liked it, but guess what? Especially with the controversy around him and what he did with like geeks and gamers, I still respect the man, and I still will support him no matter what. But I'm not the kind of guy who just go on and just harass people like in the streets, be like, oh, you have to like Zack Snyder because he's a god. Like, it reminds me of like the Walking Dead season 2, where people praising Kenny, like literally praising Kenny as like he's literally God, because he's like the best character out of the whole freaking series to save Clementine. It's like, come on, like, this man is just broken, and he has reasonings, but in a twisted way. And it's not a huge debate of him versus Kate, but literally, like, there's no reason to make a cult around a character that literally, just been through a lot of shit. It's like the Jesus situation. It's like, oh, like he'd been through like a lot of crap, and then we had to support him. If he actually earns that support, then reasonable, fine. But a whole cult around it, or Jesus has a religion, so I'll excuse that. But like, for these two characters, I mean, not characters, like literally, one is like a fictional character, one is like a real life person just trying to make movies. So like, I don't know what you want me to say. It's just, don't be too attached to them, like, please. It's kind of weird
too.
Yeah, but also going back to representation and relatability, like, Asian, not many
don't care.
Asian superheroes, but with Shang Tsung and all these other characters, I would give props to Marvel. And as long as it's not forced, like shoved down people's, that's what I really don't like. But as long
Yeah, Shang-Chi is a piece of shit movie. I really do not like Shang-Chi. It's supposed to be Iron Fist. I watch Iron Fist. I'm like, who the hell is Shang-Chi? Like, that movie is dog water. I'm sorry. I tr- I'm I don't like that movie. That movie is dog water. The action is good, but like that's about it that it can offer that I can enjoy. So I'm sorry, but he's trash.
As long as it's not shoved down people's throats and like you're gonna have to digest this.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
My fan community can be toxic.
Now, if they, I'm looking at you, Marvel. If you just stand there and you don't put your asses on that seat, I will rile my brains out. Grind my dick on this table if they don't sit down right now. Both of them. I'm talking about both, because they can be toxic. Hey. You know what? This is better. This is better than no one sitting. If no one sits, I'll literally will just lose my mind. But this is doable. I'll take it.
You want to talk about a no-brainer question?
I was gonna say, I think we can all agree that every fan
Right.
can be toxic.
Even if it's something as simple as, someone's title changing or someone becoming a new hero, you immediately get the people on Twitter just being like, I hate this person. I honestly feel really bad for Brie Larson because she got the brunt of it during that whole Captain Marvel phase. And personally, I liked her. I think she's a great actress. I think.
Alright, so let me put my opinions here right before he said anything that I would disagree. The whole controversy around it was a bit much, but what he said was literally the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Like, that was kind of stupid. But does she deserve to be harassed? No. Was it enjoyable at the time? Oopsies. Well, the memes were great. Not a big fan of the harassing. So, and her as an actress, she's fine. But if we're talking about her in Captain as Captain Marvel, the most like, I'm thinking about like I'm pretty sure there's Miss Marvel I'm thinking about. There's Miss Marvel that I know that she's a feminist. Captain Marvel, on the other hand, I think Captain Marvel was just like, it's like Green Lantern. She's literally like Green Lantern, like Hal Jordan, like a starter, like cruiser or fighter jets flying around. She got powers from like an alien. It's literally that kind of trope for both of them. But I respect her more on like the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, if I'll be honest, than her in the MCU. Because in the movie, she's literally Rey Skywalker, 100%. She got it. She literally has to find her true self, whatever that fucking means. And again, her as an actress, like, I just need more like expression, because there has to be a reason why she's acting like robotic or very serious, but there's no reason for it. She's literally acts like that because she's a woman and they have no weaknesses or whatever that crap is. whatever they say. It's literally like, hey, she needs you need to smile more, quote. Like, that's not what I'm saying. It's literally her. She needs to be more like literally expressive, or maybe not expressive if she's not supposed to be, but be more like, I don't know, philosophical. But that isn't her character. Then what do you want her to be then if you can't let her be more human? She's literally less human than Superman. If people like to say that Superman is not relatable, she is less relatable than he is, because at least he show his weaknesses. He show his childhood. In Man of Steel, at least you see where he went from the bottom to the top. Captain Marvel, literally, the only breaking down moment she ever has was her as a kid. As a kid. But then she got up anyway because she's a woman. And that's why I got turned off by it and be like, yeah, this is kind of shit. Because in those moments, even though it's very forcey, in my opinion, she has to show her weaknesses at some moment in time where she grow as a human being, because we all can relate to that. But this movie doesn't want to show it. When she fell, someone yells at her, she gets up, and that's it. Enough said. So that's all I gotta say for her. And her character in general, like, literally, the MCU did not give her justice. The only time that I liked seeing her was, like I said, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because they done her perfectly in that show. That show done her chef's kisses. Like, this is such a good show. Even though the plot armor is a bit much, that's literally the only thing I had with that show that I have issue with. But literally, the characters in that show represents what Marvel is truly about. It's nothing too goofy. It's not too serious. It's serious enough that it's like that a normal human can understand what they're going through. Even though it's quote-unquote cartoon. Thank you, Barbara, from Rooster Teeth. They literally show you what they're going through, and it's actually, like, even though some of the characters are very, like, you know, definitely from, like, the comics, being based on, like, Captain America as, like, the old soldier from World War II, and Tony's a bit egotistical, which he was in the MCU, but they use that smartly, that it isn't like, oh, like, they're useless. No, they're literally important, especially in season 2. They were important for those roles. But besides that, like, yeah, like, Brie Larson is fine as an actress, but the movie was shit. I'm sorry.
I don't either.
I'm not a big fan of the character, but I was like, this is fun. I don't want to know what people hate
Exactly.
or something.
It's like when you dehumanize the actor and treat them as they're only that, that's not being a fan.
Yeah.
That's being an ass.
I remember when Black Panther came out, a lot of people refused to see it because they said it's a PC movie.
Exactly.
It's like there's so much vitriol and
Honestly, I do not like Black Panther, so not because of that. It's just the movie sucks. I'm sorry, it's not for me. Also,
different corners. I like to believe it's not most people.
oh, and I never seen it as that too. I just see it as a movie, and the movie, like I said, didn't focus too much on Black Panther, of how he grew as a leader, but more on him as a fighter. But even though the things they show him as a fighter isn't moving or great, it's literally whatever. So yeah, I didn't like the movie.
But like the loudest voices on social media are like always.
Yeah,
always. Exactly.
Because those are the ones that get attention.
Right.
Yeah, even the Black Panther, anything like this is supposed to be a black Superman coming out, and people are gonna be like, oh yeah, that's born of the political correctness. But
No, that's literally race swapping. That's literally race swapping. I'm sorry. I do not give a crap about Black Superman. Like at this point, we can make Iron Man black. Oh wait, there is one. We can make Spider-Man black. Oh, there is one. We can make Thor black. Nope, but he's a woman. Love and Thunder, everyone. No, I'm sorry. I do not like the race gender swapping. I do not like any of those shits. Even though it's explained, I do not like it at all. Especially it's made from an original character, and someone wants to make it because diversity or femininity or whatever you want to call it, or for the ABCD plus. Like, I don't care. They are not original heroes. Especially like, oh, Hulk has a cousin and she's She-Hulk, and Batman has a cousin and lesbian Batwoman. Especially with that terrible show. Ew. Even those things, do you really want to call them as your iconic heroes? Like, Jon Stewart gets a pass. You know why? Because he isn't. Because there's literally a reason why there's another Green Lantern. You can have many characters as you want. You can have characters. Because how does it work for the Green Lantern Corps is that whenever you have will or whatever emotion, the ring comes down to you. So it doesn't. So literally, you don't need to be white. You don't need to be black. Literally, the ring chooses you if you have that certain type of emotion or trait. That it comes down to you and choose you as a Green Lantern. That's how it works. So that's why I wouldn't call it out as like race swapping if he's replacing Hal Jordan, because there's a reason for it. Sometimes Hal Jordan won't be on Earth. Jon Stewart will be protecting Earth. If he leaves, then Guy Gardner will protect Earth. There's literally reasons why these characters are supposed to be different. Comparably to, if we compare that to like, I don't know, fucking again, Batman, Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man, let me talk about Spider-Man. If there's Miles Morales to replace his Spider-Man, do I really want to call him Spider-Man? No. Even though the movie is good, I would not call Spider-Man Miles Morales. The original iconic character is always be Peter Parker. If he's been replaced by another person who has the exact same, not exact same, but has the exact same way to get the bites, almost depends on what you read or watch, and has bigger and powerful powers than the original Spider-Man, then it's like, what the fuck am I watching? It's literally like I become a superhero and then I pass on the mantle or I died, then another person will be me, but Asian, black, whatever. I don't know how I feel about that. It's honestly, is like I said, it depends on, for me, if you're gonna do something like that, it just depends on the story, because honestly, that kind of stuff can get away if you actually make sense of it, or isn't too forced on. Is like to the point. It's like, okay, so he earns it because the canon actually shows progression that actually stays like that till it passes on. Like the whole point of let's just say Batman is to pass on the mantle because he's supposed to protect Gotham no matter what, like Dr. Fate kind of thing. So at that point, that makes sense, at least for his character, his symbol. But if you got characters like I said, She-Hulk, female Punisher, female this, female that, black this, Asian that, Hispanic that. Or we have a Greek superhero that just throws condiments at you. Like, what the hell you want me to say? What the hell you want me to say to all this, and expect me to say, oh, they're heroes at their own, they're heroes that work so hard for this to become for who they are or whatever. I'm losing my mind overthinking about this crap. But the point is that, and I'm gonna end this off by saying, just make original characters. I really do not want to see literally an alternative literal person that is pretending to be that original hero. Now, unless there's a specific movie or a story that focuses on that because there's a reasoning for it or a purpose or a message they're trying to bring, but it completes it in a very smart way that is like, okay, I get what they're trying to do here, and I'm actually satisfied with it, then yeah, I'll guarantee it be successful. But if it's just them being who they are, but different race or gender or whatever, then you're wasting my fucking time. Sorry.
There's been iterations of
Well,
Black
also,
Superman.
it's comic books, so why not?
Yeah, it's like it's not only limited to just white people. And
There's a
like,
multiverse for a reason.
Yeah, it's a multiverse, exactly.
Well, I get toxicity on my end just for being a girl, and like.
Oh, here we go. All right. Here, you see, I'm hearing this kind of crap 24/7. Not okay, not literally like that, but I hear this so many times. Like I really, really, really understand about what you're saying, but literally, that's literally life. You had to move on from that. Also, the multiverse thing, that's honestly it's a hit or miss for me.
You guys are predominantly. I mean, it's all males, but I mean, I've never been like directly targeted at, but I definitely do get the sense of like, oh, you're female, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea. Oh, you're younger, you have no idea what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
I really probably could have came with everybody. I think the only reason why I didn't was because it was prefaced by saying my community. I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Instagram, and so I'm ignorant to it, I guess is what it is. I had a weird situation. You know, I would be, I guess, more in the jock category growing up in the sense of that was more my reputation, I suppose. But anyone who knew me and any of my friends came over to my house, like when I started dating, like in high school, and the girls came over to my house, I had action figures everywhere. You know, so the jig was up, you know what I mean? And like, you know, this is really who I am and what I'm really about, and I always found I got a great reaction from that. I think if people buy too much into the toxic nature of Marvel versus DC or whatever the movie is and their gripes on it, they're losing a chance to focus on the positive of the character and why they love it.
My side would win in a fight.
Alright, don't bring this debate. I really, really do not want to answer this. Literally, like, if you really want to hear my take, if this is where I know where it's heading, where it's literally saying who would win in a fight. Now, are we talking about character wise or are we talking about business wise? Because character wise, DC. Let's be honest, DC. But I could be wrong. But how I see it is like there's a lot of characters that literally ruin the universe by snapping fingers, and not without the gauntlet, let me tell you. And for like business wise, before dependable, now for of course for like most of people are dumb, watch anything in Marvel, so I would say Marvel. But yeah, if we're talking about like literal fight on fight brawl to the death, DC.
I'm going for it. Oh, wow, they know too.
They know.
It's good. They know what's up.
They know the place.
I think that's why the conversation is Marvel connects more with like the real person, because DC does feel like titans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, comic books are American mythology. I heard that somewhere in a documentary, and it's true. You know, we don't have like an American mythos outside of like Paul Bunyan and like some silly stuff. It's superheroes is really what it is. Yeah. And Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, these like, you know, Atlas holding the world on their shoulders figures. So it's like, it's always them. Batman's like plan to defeat everyone is just, I'm Batman. Yeah. And everyone on Earth goes, he's right.
Yeah, get out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna get down to the brass of it, you know, pissed off Superman, good luck. Someone taking out the big dog, you know.
I always see these videos on YouTube like, oh yeah, Superman versus Hulk, or Batman versus Iron Man. And it's like, it's
well, those videos are actually interesting to watch. If done right, then yeah, it's watchable. It's watchable if you put them to the right opponent. Like put them into like a right opponent for that category. Then yeah, it's interesting. But we all know in the very end, like we all know who's gonna win.
It's all made up. People have their own.
And listen, until Superman fights Goku, we know that's the real.
Okay, come on, we don't want to bring this debate. Because, fun fact, there's actually some versions where Superman can be beaten by Goku. It just, if you're talking about like the different versions of very I can't say the word varieties of Superman fighting Goku canon, or we talk about Goku canon only, then yes, we can align them up saying, okay, the early Superman will definitely get beat by Goku. But we talk about the newer, the most like god OP versions of Superman, then yeah, he can definitely beat Goku. But until Goku got Ultra Instinct, again another Super Saiyan ability that made his hair white. He's gotta have another one that makes his hair black, and he already has black hair, so they're gonna bring something new. Like there's a virus of a Saiyan, and a Saiyan virus will actually kills your speed, but it gets good damage. But that kind of shit. Like at this point, I really don't care who's gonna win. At first, it was actually fun to debate, but now it's like more Superman gets stronger, the more Goku gets stronger. No matter what, there's always a toxic debate, and it's not even fun anymore. Especially when it comes to someone brings in Ben 10, and that's a huge thing. But yeah, like yeah.
See, we're not all delusional.
I mean, this isn't even a question. Like,
Alright, we have someone who's smart about this.
the Justice League is way overpowered. Like, way overpowered. Right.
I would just say their brutality is a lot more severe compared to Marvel characters. That was like the only thing that came to mind. I was saying the MCU is a little bit more light and fluffy, so they have a little bit more
Oh, light and fluffy, you say? Watch Iron Man 3, watch Dark World of Thor, watch Captain Marvel, watch Civil War. Yeah, watch Civil War, Avengers, Civil War. Like, no, it's not that fluffy. No, you're wrong. But yes, there's not a lot of blood, but still, like, no, they kill.
humanistic like thoughts, and I just feel like they would completely just destroy them, unfortunately. Yeah.
I guess my only question would be, you know, if you want to pit.
And but not just that, there's actually consequences. There's actually stakes that they even they literally for Infinity War, which is my favorite MCU movie of all time, because I can appreciate and respect of without multiverse, without crazy magic or whatever. It's literally the heroes that are introduced are getting wrecked by aliens, from a Titan that's gonna conquer the world, the galaxy even, because he wants to balance out life by taking out 50%. Now people can make debates where it's either stupid and selfish, or smart and clever. To me, this version of him, especially for a movie like this, is actually a refreshing, a refreshing take of Thanos, and as a villain to actually upper hand the Avengers and actually win, and actually ended off the movie by him reaching his goal, and actually end as like a realistic take on life. Because sometimes this isn't fair. You can never reach that goal, but you still have each other until Endgame appears, and it ruins the whole message. But whatever. I still respect Infinity War to this day, even though there's times I hate Marvel. At times, I will still respect this movie at this movie as a whole, by just showing like they're not afraid to actually make the characters suffer and understand the stakes and realism at their opponent. So there's that. And Zack Snyder Justice League is literally like a better version of the Avengers, honestly. So yeah, fight me.
Martin Scorsese said Marvel movies are not cinema.
Now this, all I can say about this, I can respect the man, I respect almost all of it. Yes, their movies are literally a roller coaster. It's roller coaster of content. Is literally just that. Because no matter if it's a movie bad or good, these fans will take it and eat it up and expect more. Like it's an addiction. It's drugs. Like it's like drug addicts that can never stop watching. It's literally that. And after Endgame, I started to realize that yeah, that's literally what they're doing. Before, it's like, no, it's any of the story, and I like to see more, but no, like the more I hear people talking about it after Endgame, the more I'm like, yeah, I should really take a break from MCU, and then boom, after like literally last 1 year, they literally want to post more content. It's like, we just ended off an Infinity Saga, and this is what you want to do? Make more now, especially like the start of it, a new Black Widow movie that we already know that she died. Like, I'm sorry, yeah, I kind of mostly, not all of it, but yeah, after Endgame, I mostly agree what he is saying. Of what he is saying is true. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Step forward if you agree. Now step forward if you disagree.
Well, what does he know about making movies? Right? I think we all are going to disagree pretty heavy with that one. If you look at not just the numbers and not just the worldwide success, but also the stories and the emotion.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Like, I'm telling you, my theory was before the before phase 4 with the with the movies and stuff like that, I never want to watch more after watching Black Widow, Doctor Strange, the shows. Oh my gosh. Especially what they did with Loki, Wanda, I literally had to just fix my nose because of how much I'm face palming so hard on this. No, there's a point where the amount of things they're posting for cinema, I'm telling you, it will get old real quick, and when it gets old, it hits hard. Of how lazy Disney is doing with their movies, especially they're posting content already that it's like we barely even have a break with like with Marvel. We literally got done with Endgame and the Spider-Man movie, the movie like at 2019, I think 2019. And then 2020 they stopped, which is refreshing. It's like, okay, nothing's on, but there's some stuff we can watch. And when the entertainment industry started pumping out content, Disney comes in with like saying, "Oh, Phase 4 is coming. Here it is," and it's like, can we have a break with it? And they're like, "Nope, post more content." And the more content they post, the more it's getting annoying, ridiculous, and nothing burger. It's literally nothing but content that isn't even like, it's at the point where it's like people can't even watch it in order anymore. It's literally picking a movie that you want to watch because you're interested to see where it takes you. Because there's literally at a point where it's like it's too much. Like, I'm pretty sure there'll be at an end where it's like people are sick of it. They want to watch something different. And when they try to ask for them to watch something different, I'm telling you, it's going to be trash. It's going to be samey, and it's going to be fucking boring. I'm already bored of what they're posting. The shows are awful. All of them. All of the shows are awful. I'm literally trying so hard, but there's literally nothing I like about what they're posting. Now, Falcon and the Winter Soldier gets a bit of a pass because it's at least different, and it's actually taking nuance to real life. Sometimes it's a bit competitive what they did at the end, which I did not appreciate, but at least they're they're trying to take it realistically and at heart, and I can respect that. But yeah, but overall, like, it's not good. The movies are terrible. They're not. It's nice to watch, but you can't even enjoy it as a smart qualified movie if they're just posting it like it's just nothing. Like, look at Black Widow. Someone made the script in like 6 days. 6 days, I think, but it was somewhere there. It is literally like insane how they don't care about the quality. They just made it and boom, done. Oh, that's just. There's a point where it's literally not cinema. What cinema to me is literally people have a vision, create something, they want to show to the audience and see how much they love it. Just want to see more of it. It depends on the money and how much they love it. Hate it, doesn't matter. It's all about opinions and supporting what they love. It's literally cinema, making something that you got and present it to a block of audience. Marvel is literally has an audience already before the movies, and they're using that to make more and more and more and more and more. And the comics are getting trashier and less imagination, and it's not even as good as when Iron Man came out. Like, I'm sorry, but I disagree.
And the ebb and flow of the storytelling, I think they're definitely not only cinematic, but some of the best examples of art that a worldwide audience of different ages and a lot of different people can come together and watch and enjoy.
Until it's too much, until it's too many, then it's like, whatever. If they like it, they like it. But if they don't like it, they don't like it. But at a time, they will just start losing steam, and the mass audience will just don't care. I'm telling you. It will happen in, like, I don't know, 5 years, my guess, 6 years. That's my bet.
You know, where maybe sometimes a more boutique or arty film might not have that same, response.
Yeah. I think the second you try to put ground rules on what art is, you fundamentally don't understand. You're missing the point of art.
Yeah. Absolutely. For sure. Like, how do you define cinema?
Right.
You can't.
Right.
There's no, cookie cutter definition of.
That is true. You can cookie cook whatever you said. Yes, you can. There's no simple way to say it. But what I'm saying is still somewhat valid, even though it's not factual. But what I'm saying is that literally, cinema is people presenting what they love to make for the audience. Either it's fan made or it's a company thing. It's literally made out of passion, and that's the point of cinema. And that's still my opinion about that. Of course, someone has a different answer for it, which I will gladly take a look at it. But yeah, I don't know what you call MCU anymore, especially what they're doing with females. Don't get me started.
Oh, okay, this movie is cinema, but like Shrek 2 is not. Like, it's
High cinema.
But it's that type of thing where if you decide that things have limits, you're already not only limiting the audience, but you're limiting creative freedom. If someone comes along and says, "Oh, that's not cinema," what are you telling the future filmmakers? That what they want to do is not considered cinema? You're immediately, trashing what these new people want to do.
Well, for me, it's simple. There's literally a company making more of the same content. Cinema is literally like someone's making art or whatever they want to make into cinema, where they have audiences that love it or hate it. But the MCU is literally like drugs at this point, so that's my opinion.
It brings people together is the biggest thing. I think a cinema can do that. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, me and my dad watch it together. Me and my mom, me and my friends, and we're all different ages. That's like the point of cinema. So.
True.
Group hug, everybody. Group hug.
Oh yeah, let me get in there. Oh yeah, you smell. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I still stand by it. Like, honestly, I thought there would be like a huge like toxic debate, but this is actually kind of chill, which I was not prepared for. It's literally a civil conversation. Like, I'm very surprised because I was literally ready for someone to like a toxic feminist to be like, Captain Marvel is my babe, and you can't change my mind about it. It's literally my whole life. She's literally God in my opinion, like that kind of shit. But no, this is actually kind of nice to look at, like a normal conversation, than just like, Marvel's the best. I'm sorry, DC, but you suck. Like, no, they actually made like good points, and I got nothing else to say. Like, I literally am kind of speechless. Also, I'm going to make another video, which is not about this. This was just like me like trying to post something. So next time I'll try to make a. Let me see here. I'll see what I can do. But for now, I gotta eat.
Wait,